Hey people, my name is Makeda Valletta. Welcome. I'm also known as the Renaissance Amazon and Queen Lioness. Um, this video, I am going to talk about the wonderful and amazing Beyonce, and more specifically, her Grammy performance. Um, I just did a video on Facebook Live on this subject, and I wish I could have just posted this on YouTube, but I somehow didn't download the video so I could post it. So I'm doing it here on YouTube. And so, for those of you who don't know me, I'm a trained dancer. I've been performing since I was a kid. I was raised by a wonderful mother and father, and my dad was really the first feminist I've ever known. My dad, who was a part of the Black Power movement, on the front lines of the Civil Rights movement, a Black radical, he also was very pro-woman. And most men who are part of the Civil Rights movement were not. They're very machismo and didn't listen to women, didn't respect the opinions of women. So I'm very fortunate to have a father that was not like that and always pointed out powerful women to me. And I'm saying this to say that, to me, Beyonce is an amazing symbol of feminism. And if you haven't seen my first video that I did last year called "On Formations," on why it was on why Beyonce is a good Black power feminist symbol, and you can see that on my YouTube page. So many female singers, they've all throughout the history of time sung songs like, "Oh, please don't leave me," "Oh, I can't live without you," "Oh, the same old sad, same old love songs. Beyonce was never like that. She always sang in songs that were very empowering for women. Whether it be put a ring on it, you want to claim this, but you need to put a ring on it. Oh, you want to act like you don't want this, I'll replace you tomorrow. Women run the world. She came up, her and Jay-Z will upgrade you, where she was talking shit. They were talking shit back and forth, and she was telling him, "Dude, I upgraded you. You're worth more now. I'm with you." Like, just all the shit that she's always taught. But then yet at the same time, she's very pro-woman and female power, but she has a husband, She's a mom. So she's not like some pro-feminine woman that's like, "Oh, I don't need a man," or, "I'm not going to be a mom," or "I don't," she's all those things. She's a sex symbol. She is a mother. She is a wife, she's a daughter. She comes from a family with two parents, so she doesn't have daddy issues. Her father was the one who really pushed her, and she wouldn't be who she was if it wasn't for her dad, so she doesn't come from a broken home. She doesn't have daddy issues, none of that stuff. And I highly respect her for, like in the Formations, song, when, she talks about how she likes her, Jackson 5 nostrils and, her afros and stuff like that. There are a lot of Black people, like, shit, let's hear some Jamaicans say some stuff like that when they're over there bleaching their skin right now. You got Africans bleaching their skin right now and put on these horrible wigs and weaves and stuff on their head, that look absolutely awful. And here Beyonce's daughter is with natural hair. Like, I have a friend that was in Ghana. She studied midwifery. She told me that people in the hospitals in Ghana put wigs on the babies. Like, you see babies leaving the hospital with European wigs swinging from their head. Like, that's so absurd and ridiculous, But Beyonce's daughter has natural hair. People are always talking negatively about her daughter, which is so ignorant because, kids were always off limits for people to talk about. But people talk so crazy about her daughter, and it's like, for her to come out and say the things that she said in the Formations, that was great, But, the whole Lemonade album was monumental. Like, I can't think of any album or any piece of work that anybody has ever done in the history of life that is on that level. You know what I'm saying? And if you haven't seen Lemonade, you should be quiet, turn on, and watch the whole thing. Just watch the whole thing. And then, if you want to debate with me about somebody else doing something like on that level, then please talk to me. Because even Michael Jackson, as much as I love him, did not do anything on that level, And Beyonce is a woman. So that means she gets a period every month. And she still performing her ass off, you know. She's pregnant, performing. And I can't think of any female performer who has ever performed visibly pregnant that I can remember, you know. In the 90s, female models and artists either waited till they were 40 to have kids, or when they did, they like went into hiding somewhere and nobody ever saw them. A lot of times people never even knew they were pregnant. Like, I know Madonna had 4 kids. We didn't hear about that. You know what I'm saying? So, and Beyonce's first pregnancy, everybody kept saying she wasn't really pregnant, and she was pregnant. But people kept saying, oh, she's not pregnant, she has a surrogate, and all this bullshit. Now, you know, she's pregnant with twins, okay? Not just one baby, but twins. And still gets up there and performs flawlessly, you know? Now, Adele can sing, yes, but she can't perform. If you are performing at the Grammys, you should not have to start over. No great performer does that. I've never seen Prince do that. I never saw Michael do that. I never saw Janet do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see people, Cirque du Soleil performers, say, oh, wait, I started wrong. We got to start over. You don't see figure skaters and gymnasts doing that. No. When you're a professional and you're on that level, your shit is supposed to be on point, period. There's no reason for you to start over. It's called practice. So Beyonce performs flawlessly, and there's a lot to be said about that because I'm not a singer, but as a dancer, I know how hard it is to execute all that stuff perfectly, you know, not miss a step. And if you watch Beyonce perform, she'd be like limbs swinging and jumping, levels changing, and she's not huffing and puffing at all. You know what I'm saying? That's incredibly difficult to do. Then the fact that I love it because my dad calls it womanist art. He calls it womanist art, what Beyonce is doing. And it is, you know. Some people call it feminist. My dad calls it womanist, and I love it. You know, my dad is an art critic. He's a writer. He's a journalist. He's a musician. And he himself told me that that performance that she did at the Grammys is one of the best performances he ever saw. You know? And me as a dancer and someone who loves to watch dance and loves to watch a performance, I get so bored by people today because nobody puts on a show anymore. You know, like back in the day, Missy always put on a show. Puffy always put on a show. Janet, Michael, Madonna, like they put on a show. Nowadays, people are lazy as shit and they don't do anything. Everybody's subpar. Now, to see Beyonce get better over the years, because like 10 years ago, I thought she was okay. But she's better now. She's more fierce now. And I respect her for working hard because, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, she has a team. It's easy to be like that when you have a team. No, it's not. No, it's not. Just because you can have all the team that you want around you, but it doesn't mean that you can execute the shit properly if you don't practice really well and you don't have the talent. You know what I'm saying? Comedians have teams. The president has teams of writers. You know what I'm saying? Like, actors got a team of people. You know, the dancers, people that dance for Avenelli, they got a team of choreographers. But that doesn't mean, just because it's a team of choreographers doesn't mean you could do it. You know what I'm saying? You still have to be able to execute it. So that whole point about, oh, it's easy to do when you have a budget. No, it's not. Okay? Because she's not the only one with a budget. She's not the only one with a team. So why isn't everybody shit lit like that? People like Mariah Carey, Mariah Carey is an amazing singer, but her performances are weak. What happened to Mariah Carey on New Year's Eve? That would never happen to Beyonce. Everybody in show business knows shit happens and the show must go on. Period. You're not supposed to start complaining to the audience and telling them this is not working. No. If your shit falls off, you keep going. If you fall down, you keep going. That is what it is. Like, I remember when Destiny's Child was on BT and the lame one in the group fell, Michelle or whatever. She fell. They didn't stop and say, oh, are you okay? We have to start over. No, Kelly and Beyonce kept on singing. Michelle had to get up and get in line. You know what I'm saying? And so the fact that Adele had to stop and say, oh, I need to start over. And then last year she had problems. Mariah Carey's fucking up a New Year's Eve show. And Beyonce is always flawless. And she's not just standing there. And she's not just walking back and forth. But she's actually performing. And Mariah Carey can sing really well. But I feel like her, like a lot of artists, took that for granted. Like, oh, well, I can sing better than everybody, so I don't really have to work at getting better. When Beyonce can sing, she's not the best singer in America, but she can sing. But she's always worked at being better. And so she's gotten to this place of fierceness, and her creativity is amazing. And yes, she may have a team, but she plays a role in that, you know? And, you know, so Lemonade was a monumental album. I can't think of anybody who's ever done anything like that. And I appreciate her for putting Afro-American culture on the forefront. Because I talked about this in my other video. And it's because, I'm from New York City. I grew up around Caribbeans and Africans. And they're always saying shit like, oh, Afro Americans don't have any culture. And that shit pisses me off because nothing could be further from the truth. We have lots of culture. And the Black College Marching Bands from down south is a part of our culture. Something that the Caribbean knows nothing about and that they don't have. There's no band in the Caribbean that compares to the marching bands down south. And if you're from the Caribbean and you live in New York City, you never traveled around America, you never spent time down south, then you don't know anything about that. And so, that's really annoying. And then like country music, like when Beyonce sang on the Country Music Awards, the country singers were mad. But country music doesn't belong to white people. Black people have always been involved in country music from the very beginning. And black people in the South listen to country music. Like my dad's from Florida. My mom is from Western Pennsylvania. I'm from New York. But my dad always said to me, that people down south, he grew up listening to country music. He likes country music. And people down south always listen to country music. People from Florida, the older black people that are from Florida, all listen to country music. So on Beyonce's album, she put that on the forefront. So she had a country song to her dad. You see her riding horses. You see, the formations thing, which is a very important thing for the marching bands down south. They get into very sharp formations, and that's extremely important. And then as a black girl, like for little black girls who dance and stuff, formations are critical. That's an important part of our culture, okay? Getting on stage and being sharp and putting on a dope show with dancing is a part of our culture. So Carlos Santana, which he just lost all my respect with his dumb comment, calling Beyonce a model, comparing to what she does to modeling. No, and then like downplaying the dancing part of the performance. That to me is a insult to Afro American culture because, and the art form of dance. Okay, like people respecting your art form, you playing your little instrument or whatever. Dancing is an art form too. And I can't stand it when people try to devalue somebody for dancing. Like people do it to me. Oh, you're just shaking your ass. Yeah, but that's not something that just anybody can do, number one. You need to have body control. Number two, these dances come from someplace and they mean something. And as a black person, to hate that's self-hate. That's a part of our culture, a huge part of it. You know what I'm saying? It's dancing. We dance when we're happy. We dance for the dead. We dance for the living. We dance as little girls. That's a part of what we do. And we dance when we perform. We don't get on stage and be all stiff, And so, and what Beyonce does is not comparable to modeling, and it's not something that just anybody can do. And so Carlos Santana sounded like an idiot for saying that. And Adele knew, okay, Adele can sing, but did she deserve Album of the Year? No, and she knew it, and that's why she said it. Because Lemonade was monumental. People were quoting Lemonade. People have been, quoting stuff that she said in that album. The visuals, the poetry, everything was on another level. Another level. And then, again, it wasn't the typical, oh, please don't leave me. Oh, I'm so heartbroken. Oh, I can't live without you type shit. No, it was not. You know what I'm saying? It was fucking fire, and nobody has done anything like it. Then, I can't recall any female artist ever performing visibly pregnant before. If any female artist has ever been pregnant, she wasn't showing. But for her to get on stage as pregnant as she was, and like back in the day, women had to go into hiding when they were pregnant. Like even school teachers, if you were pregnant, you had to go, you couldn't work. That was like a no-no, So for Beyonce to be on stage pregnant, doing this whole tribute to mothers, is so important and so powerful. It was only recently that I started hearing people talk about goddesses. Because it used to always be about the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. I know when I was growing up, it wasn't nobody talking about goddesses. Or if somebody said, oh, God is a she. Oh, yeah, he, she, same thing. No, it's not the same thing. God and goddess is not the same thing. Let's be clear. The symbolism associated with them is not the same. And a lot of women all around the world are messed up because they were not raised with a goddess, okay? It was all about praying to God, having a fear of God. God who wants to suppress sexuality and anything different than heterosexual monogamy. The goddess, you can't talk about the goddess without talking about sexuality and birth. You know what I'm saying? And the sensuality and all that it is, I also saw some black people criticizing her like, oh, she's trying to, appropriate African religion and she's, imitating Oshun, but she hasn't practiced that. Like, first of all, who said that she was imitating Oshun? Like, Oshun was the only goddess that wears yellow, number one. Number two, the way Beyonce was dressed, she looked more like an East Indian deity to me. I didn't see Oshun at all, you know. I saw an East Indian goddess, or I saw a goddess, period. Okay, it doesn't really matter which one at the end of the day. And we don't know what Beyonce does, but that's besides the fact, because you can go to Africa, you're not gonna find people that really, practice their religions out in the open like that. They're all so Muslim and so Catholic, and a lot of the people I know who are my age and younger don't even know about that stuff. So it's not even, like a lot of them are going to Brazil and Haiti and Cuba to learn about their own stuff, because it's more alive there than it actually is in Africa a lot of times. But even with that being said, there's several African goddesses besides Oshun. Oshun is just a Yoruba goddess. Like, there are Akan goddesses, there are Igbo goddesses, there are Congolese goddesses, And whenever I see people who are in that religion, dressing as Oshun, they are overdressed. They have on like 3 skirts and a big ruffly blouse and an Aunt Jemima slavery headscarf. And when you look at the artwork, that's never how you see them. The goddesses are never Oshun, Yemaya, any of them. They're usually topless, they're half naked, they have jewelry, always adorned in jewelry, but they never have on layers of clothes and Aunt Jemima headscarves. But when people embody these goddesses who are in those religions, they never look like that. They're always overdressed, And why is that? That's because of colonialism. Well, slavery's over. You know what I'm saying? It's like people act like they're wearing these Aunt Jemima headscarves with pride. That's not how. Look, if you look at the ancient artwork, you don't see them ever looking like that. They look more like what Beyonce looked like than what people today be dressing like. And so, I don't know if there's anything else I need to say. I just want to say that, I don't jump on bandwagons. I'm not a huge sports fan. I don't get emotional over stuff like that. But when it comes to performers, Beyonce is amazing. She deserves all of her, she deserves nothing but respect. People need to stop hating. And really, I wish somebody else would she's raised the bar. I wish somebody else would turn up and actually put on a real show, because everybody's shit is boring these days, Nobody is actually performing anymore. She's like the only one. So I get excited to see her perform, And to me, because I'm all pro-woman, it's even more amazing that, she could be who she is, be a sex symbol, be a mom, be a husband, be a boss, and get on stage and kill it all the time. So I think I might have said all I needed to say. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I wanted to say? I don't know. But I'm trying to think of anything else I want to say before. Okay, I think I might be done. I'm sure that when this video is over, I'm going to remember something I wanted to say. But I just had to, give respect where it was due and just say my 2 cents about Beyonce. And it's not just about sweating her because she's Beyonce. It's about giving credit where it's due. And she deserves it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if somebody wants to tell me who's putting on a better performance right now, who can sing too, because J-Lo can dance her ass off, but J-Lo's voice is hard. So if somebody else can tell me someone on Beyonce's level who's putting together these kind of works of arts and monumental pieces like that, then please feel free to write it below on my YouTube video. I would like to know. Okay, so I will talk to you all later. And if you haven't seen Lemonade, make sure you do. Peace out. Oh, wait. Real quick, I just remembered, I told you I was going to forget something. I just want to say that I've never been a fan of Prince. Like, I don't dislike him, but I don't play Prince's music. Like, you'll never see me just go put on Prince's music. However, I do recognize that he's super talented. I do recognize that he plays a lot of those instruments, he composes a lot of his music. So even though I'm not a fan of his music like that, it doesn't move me, I still recognize how talented he is and how what he does is super difficult. And so with Beyonce, it's like, even if people claim to not like her music, which I don't understand how you couldn't like any of it, like Drunken Love was bumping, 7-Eleven was bumping, Partition was bumping, you know what I'm saying? She has a lot of bumping ass songs, not to say that all of them are, but she has a lot that are. But even if you don't like any of her songs, to not recognize that, what she's doing and that her performance quality is super difficult You know, just watch her. Watch how long her performances are, and watch how she's never out of breath. Like, just watch it. And tell me that that's not amazing, that she doesn't deserve props and respect for that. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, I'm going to say bye now. Bye, guys.